Hello and welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews. This is another installment on my series, Why Did I Want This Gun? Or Why Did I Want These Guns in this case. The guns we're talking about today are the Beretta Model 21A in 22 long rifle and in 25 ACP. So let's check them out. Beretta like to name their guns after cats, and this was the Bobcat. You could buy it in 22 long rifle and 25 auto. Now this little 25 auto is not the smallest center fire cartridge, but it's just about the smallest. It is a semi-rimmed cartridge, and usually you're going to get a round nose in 50 grains or something that's a little bit lighter like a 45 grain hollow point. All the ammo that I've bought for this particular gun, I bought as round ball ammunition. And of course, the 22 long rifle version that I have is a very nice nickel-plated model with walnut grips. It's an excellent shooter, and this one is meant to take 22 long rifle high-velocity ammo. I have some punch here just for reference. I have not actually shot punch through this, but I have shot a whole bunch of other 22 long rifle through it, and as long as it's over 1,200 feet per second, it tends to work pretty good. So let's take a little bit closer look at this Model 21A, the nickel-coated one. Again, I have some Federal Punch ammo here, which says that it's made for these short barrel handguns. It should work fine in this gun, and the fact that it has nickel-coated casings looks pretty cool too. These magazines hold 7 rounds of 22 long rifle. You actually can fit 8 rounds in them, but it's not recommended because you're not really able to get it to load into the gun with the 8th round in there. Now, what makes these guns a little bit unique is the fact that they have a tip-up barrel. This little lever here, if you push it forward, allows that barrel to tip up. And the reason they do that, it makes it easier to load the gun with the first round, and then you can close the barrel, and essentially it's ready to fire, because this is a double action or single action pistol, kind of like how a revolver functions. You stick that first round in the barrel, you can take the safety off, and then you could just pull the trigger. The first round will go off, cycling the action, picking the second round up from the magazine, and continuing loading the gun. So as you can see, you can shoot this in single action or in double action. If you try to load it using the slide, the springs in these are extremely stiff. They're not coil springs like most small handguns use. This actually has a very complex leaf spring system inside of it. That's really why that tip-up barrel is necessary. They did that to make it easy for women or people with weaker hands to load this, and it also makes it very handy to unload it and check to see that it's safe. You just simply pop that barrel up, and you can take the round right out of the chamber. Moving on to the 25 auto version. The function of this one is exactly the same as what you just saw with the 22 long rifle version. It still has that little lever that allows you to flip the barrel up so you can easily load and unload the gun and also check to make sure that the chamber is empty. These 25 auto rounds fit in just like the 22 long rifle. As I said earlier, they are a semi-rimmed cartridge, so they are pretty easy to take in and out with just a fingernail if you ever did have a malfunction. Now, why did I want to buy this particular gun? You look at the 25 auto version of this, and thinking back to the beginning of the pandemic at the beginning of COVID, when everybody was buying up handguns and everybody was buying ammo, you couldn't find 9mm, you couldn't find 380 auto, you couldn't find any of the standard caliber handgun rounds, even 38 Special, 357, they were all disappearing. The only 2 calibers that I could find on the shelf was 32 Smith & Wesson and 25 auto. So when everything started having a shortage, what I did was went to Cabela's and I bought 1,000 rounds of 25 auto. It was around $500. It was a bit pricey to buy it at the time. Of course, now the ammo's even more expensive, so I'm not sorry I did it. But I bought that ammo before I even had a 25 auto gun. Shortly after, I found a Raven Arms. I think it was a model P25. It was a first generation in very nice shape. But when I took it out and shot it, I hated it. I mean, again, it's like a high point. It's made out of Zamac. It functioned pretty well. But immediately after I bought that gun, I started looking for a better 25 auto, and this is what I came up with. So if we look at the 22 long rifle cartridge and the 25 auto cartridge side by side, they're almost the same length. The 25 auto is a little bit shorter and it's a little bit fatter of a cartridge. And again, if you look at the rims, the 22 long rifle has a slightly larger rim on it because it is rim fire, and the 25 auto, if you look at the end of it, actually has a primer in it. So you can see there's a ridge in the 25 auto that would work with an extractor. Here you can see the primer in the end of it as its center fire, and the rimfire 22 long rifle. So what's the real appeal if the bullet weight is only a tiny bit heavier than the 22 long rifle? Well, the real appeal of a 25 auto versus a 22 long rifle is that it's center fire. It's way more reliable than 22 long rifle. They have decent power, and again, years ago it was a readily available cartridge. John Moses Browning invented it way back in the day, and it was meant to be used in some of the smallest pocket carry revolvers you have. Now looking at the magazines here, on the left is the 25 auto magazines. These actually hold 9 rounds of ammunition, and these are made by Mecgar, M-E-C-G-A-R, who actually makes a lot of OEM magazines for many different companies, and these can still be found today. I think they were around $30 a piece. And the 22 long rifle magazines, these are still made as well because Beretta still sells the Model 21A. These hold 7 rounds, as I stated earlier. You can physically fit 8 in there, but you won't be able to cycle the gun if you put 8 rounds in there. So the magazines are still readily available. They're not hard to find, and they're between about $25 and $35 each. Side by side, the 22 long rifle and the 25 auto are exactly the same size. They function exactly the same, and to me, these, again, I bought the 25 auto because I found 25 auto ammo when nothing else was available, but to me, these are the gentleman's pocket carry guns. They're beautiful. I always feel like 007 when I carry these or when I take them out and shoot them. They're not really the best when it comes to the sight picture, but they're a lot of fun to shoot, and they're just great guns.